Stacey, I love the fact that you're looking at a calendar while we're doing this.
Like a woman.
I keep thinking, are those notes?
Yeah, I got this appointment. I got to remember.
I love it.
There's this quote on my calendar. It's really good. It says, it's by Martin Luther King Jr. It says, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter."
Whoa.
I think that's really good.
That's huge. Stacey and I have been doing radio interviews over the past couple of months, which is something new together. We wrote a book together on marriage called Love and War, and part of the implications of that have been that we have been doing these radio interviews, live interviews, call-in interviews. And as we have been doing those, I have been learning so much about marriage, so much about our marriage, and really getting some clarity on a couple of things. First, I am shocked and saddened at the state of most people's marriages. Mm-hmm. I really am blown away. Now, I know it's why God had us write this book, because his heart, was way ahead of us in this, and his heart was for restoration and hope and guidance, counsel, very practical, redemptive direction. But, he knew what I was yet to discover, and that was, wow, most people's marriages are not that great. And most people experience marriage as a pretty disappointing thing. I'm sorry to say that came as a shock to me, because the people in our immediate circle are experiencing hope and redemption and healing in their marriages. And I look at yours and Lori's, and yes, while you guys still have your lessons to learn and your trials to overcome, you guys have a great marriage. And, I look at other people that we're close to, and bumps in the road, of course, all of that. But my first revelation in doing these radio shows and getting a larger exposure has been that, wow, marriages are really hurting.
On one hand, that surprises me. On another, it doesn't. But what's surprising about that, John, is how much, as a pastor, how much energy, time, and resources are put into encouraging marriages and family and churches, Christianity, and yet to no avail or little avail.
Okay, that's huge, because then here's the second revelation. And I mean, the other day we got off an interview and I was so upset. It took me about an hour to calm down. And what I realized was this, Craig, it's because of the Christianity that's being offered to those marriages. You see, yes, marriage has this real prominent role in most churches, right? Marriage weekends, marriage retreats, marriage conferences, marriage studies, groups.
Sermon series,
all that. Marriage emphasis month or whatever. The problem is that the medicine is not strong enough. The thing I've been struck by is that an individual can fake a life, but you cannot fake a marriage. You can't. You are exposed there.
At least to one other person.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And to yourself and to God. Personally, I can kind of cruise along and feel like I'm doing pretty well as an individual, doing pretty well in life. But then, boom, in my marriage, I can't pull that off if it's not real. I can't. There's something, and this is really stunning to me, but I want to put the thought out there. It's easier to fake it in your relationship with God than it is to fake it in your marriage. There's something so constant, so in your face, so daily, so demanding about a marriage that it is utterly exposing.
And isn't that why God put such an emphasis on love the Lord your God and others, with your whole heart? Because there's something about our relationship with God that is only exposed in our relationship, in our marriage.
Exactly.
Your relationship with your wife, your spouse, and others speaks everything about your relationship with God.
I was talking to a young gal just yesterday, and she's entering into a serious relationship, and she was saying to me, I don't know how people do this without God. That if I didn't have a source of life, a source of love, a source of joy, a source of genuine security apart from another human being, that I don't know how people can do this relationship thing apart from God.
Well, you can't. You can't.
Exactly. And I think what I'm coming to is the divine conspiracy of marriage. That I've always believed it's about our transformation, but I believe that what it really exposes is the quality of our relationship with God. In order to have a great marriage, you have to have a great relationship with God.
Yeah. Wow.
Gosh, it all ties together. Just last week, the podcast was about sex and our sexuality, and how can you risk offering and being vulnerable in that area, let alone every other area that God invites us, wants us to offer and risk loving and laying our lives down, if we're not knowing in advance that we're safe. We're secure. We are loved. When we're offering to our spouse, it's not with a question mark, am I okay as a human being? That's been settled. My identity's in Christ. I'm loved. I'm chosen. I'm safe. I'm secure. That's what gives me the freedom to be able to risk being not wanted, being rejected, having John mad at me, and having that not mean a big old sentence over my life.
And not making mountains out of molehills.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, when you have a genuine relationship with God, it reduces everything else to its proper size. So hurtful comments even, they just don't blow up like they used to. There's just, you know what? She's in a bad mood. She's in a hurry. That may not even have been a hurtful comment. Who knows what that was, but I'm okay. I can let it go. It's not a big deal, versus everything is hanging on this human relationship,
You know how you said you think it's a divine conspiracy. What about the divine conspiracy of God using it to draw us to Him? Yeah. Like if we don't know Him, when you're lonely in your marriage, when there's pain there is, I think it's about as deep as it gets. And to be called that there is one who loves us intimately, powerfully, more than any man or woman could possibly love us. I think He uses that too, because your husband, your wife can never meet your needs to the depth that we have them. I mean, they just can't do it.
Bingo.
But Jesus can.
Yeah. Honey, I think that's true. And then coming back to this experience of doing these call-in shows and hearing people's marriages, I think that God creates in marriage the unavoidable need for Him. Who's going to fix this? Who's going to redeem this? There's a lot of hurt now. There's years now of neglect. There's resentment, infidelity, deep wounding, angry words, pain. There's, oh my goodness, who is going to redeem that?
Yes.
And to my point earlier about the gospel that most churches are trying to apply to marriage is not strong enough medicine. You have to have a gospel that heals the brokenhearted. You have to have as a reality Jesus healing your soul. You have to have as a reality training in spiritual warfare. Every marriage is under spiritual attack. Every marriage. And if you don't know how to first even interpret that, but then secondly, deal with it, shut it down, it just has you for lunch. It wreaks havoc in your marriage if you don't have a conversational intimacy with God, that you can turn to Him for the counsel, the guidance, the direction. Oh, my goodness. Only that gospel is strong enough medicine for what most marriages need. And so here's the great surprise. Love and War isn't a marriage book. It's not. It is. We talk about our marriage very, very honestly. But what we are describing there is how to find God in your marriage, for your marriage, and through your marriage. How do you get this redemption breakthrough? That's what this is about.
Yes.
This is about Jesus. And if you're married, then your marriage is, I guarantee you, requiring it, requiring a deeper experience of God. That sounds like
sounds like
yeah,
it.
yes and amen. Yeah.
We're so glad that you have been listening in with us. This is John Eldredge, Stasi, my wife, and Craig McConnell. We've been spending most of the last couple months talking about marriage because we have been talking about a book called Love and War, Finding the Marriage That You Dreamed Of, which Stasi and I just released a month ago. We are going on tour as well, and coming up in February, 4 locations: Tulsa on the 11th, St. Louis on the 12th, Omaha on the 13th, and then Valentine's Day in Charlotte, North Carolina on February 14th. Guys, are you kidding me? Use this. Oh, my goodness. Get the tickets. Take her out to dinner. Take her to the
many
evening.
points. Yes, yes.
Come on, and then book a hotel room. I mean, yeah, take it to the hoop, fellas. Even if you don't live in the Charlotte area, that would be a great thing to take your wife to. Drive up from Atlanta or fly down from New York or join us. We'd love to have you join us. There's so much more we have to say and to offer. I hope you're tuning in to our website at ransomedheart.com, our conferences, our online community, our blogs, the videos that we're doing. Please come and join us. There's so much more here. We really offer this to you so that you can find the life with God and find His life in your marriage that you're looking for.